You ready then?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi there, I'm Gareth,
I'm Leslie.
I'm Stephen.
and this is a brand new show from the H9 blog, which we're calling Project Interns. It's the start of something new, I think. We'll see. I guess though, because this is the first show in the series, we should probably introduce the show a bit and also ourselves. So we're going to try and do this about monthly. I think that's what we decided, something like that. But we'll see how often we get together, and we'll record it in different places. So at the moment, Leslie's hosting us in his house, very kindly. And it'll be available on the blog as well, and then we'll try and get it on iTunes in the future. Now, you may have listened to the H9 cast in the past, in which you'll have heard all three of us from time to time. I'm on there every week. But in case you haven't, and you want us to introduce ourselves a bit more, I'm Gareth, like I said, and I'm a computer science student at the University of York, currently working for a software development company on a year's placement, which finishes in August.
I'm Leslie, and exactly in the same situation.
Which is probably something that's going to become familiar.
I'm Stephen, and I also happen to be doing computer science and on the same placement.
Which is pretty much why we're calling this Interns, although that's obviously something that's going to become a bit out of date at the end of this year, but
Yeah.
there we go. I guess we're interns in a lot of different ways. One of the things, before we recorded this show today, we actually went out and we had an interesting trip around Wetherby looking at the different pubs and bars and pizza restaurants and things, but something that we saw at one of the places was some live music, and that got me thinking actually about something that would be great for this first episode to talk about, because when we first started talking at work, we didn't know each other very much before the placement. I think music was one of those topics that it sort of brought us together in a way, do you think?
Kinda. It was more of a. It wasn't that it brought us together. As that was the only thing we could really talk about. Well, I guess that counts.
Yeah, I think it's sort of something that everybody. It's one of those questions when you first meet somebody, you get to the point where you say, "What sort of music are you into?" And that's, I guess, where we got at one point. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that today, and to try and introduce you to us as well. We'll tell you a little bit about the taste of music that we have. Don't judge us. It's
Or do, actually.
yeah, all do. Either way, it's fine. I don't know, Leslie, do you want to start? You're at that side.
Sure. I think at the start of NDL, I was listening to a lot of Taylor Swift. So I think that's what, we all shared, because I was like, Taylor Swift, and you guys were like, yeah, you're right. That's how it happened.
That's basically how it happened.
Yeah, sort of.
But I don't know, I think my music taste it's not limited to Taylor Swift or pop or anything like that. I think it's fairly diverse, not as diverse as you would think, but it spans different genres.
I think that's sort of what Taylor Swift does as well, in that she started off in country, and that's where I found out about her and sort of followed her. And then moving into pop, I think brought that to more people, which is sort of indicative of what music in general is doing at the moment. It's becoming more generic in a way, but centering on one sort of type, I guess.
Yeah, I think, like pop music is very simple. It's a very common genre out there anyway. So
That's what pop means. It means popular. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
but yeah, exactly. Popular is such a diverse genre. There's quite a few subcategories of pop music anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you've recently got me onto some new stuff as well. So Echo Smith was one of the bands that you told me about, which it's interesting because you tell me about these bands I've never heard about before, and you go on YouTube or something, you see that they've got millions of views on their videos. Have you?
I haven't been part of this Echo Smith phenomenon.
We sent you the fight song though, didn't we? Who's the name of the person that sings that? Yeah, you sent that to me,
Patton?
and then I sent that to you.
Okay, so I've seen one.
So this is sort of what we do, and why I thought it would be a good thing to talk about, really, because I think music comes in with one person. I know that I've sent Leslie certain videos over and over again to get him into my sorts of music, and then the same with you. You've made playlists before that we've listened to in the car going places.
We have, yeah.
So I guess that's sort of, and when we go out and we talk about this, it seems that we quite often seem to come back to music as being something that brings a lot of topics together.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of my background in music, like I said, is mostly country music, although that's a fairly recent thing and it's more modern. And again, country music is something that has become much more pop-like. The modern stuff is basically like Taylor Swift's sound is now. That's just how it is. How about you? What's your sort of, Stephen?
Well, at first, I wasn't really into much music at all. I thought it was a waste of time. Suddenly, I had a revelation that music was actually quite good. I went through quite a lot, so lots of 80s rock, followed by current pop, and then back to all the stuff I'd hear in my childhood discos.
Do you think work has increased how much you listen to music? I know it has done for me.
Definitely, because when I don't want to listen to people around me, it's very easy to put my headphones in.
Yeah.
And
I basically listen way more than I used to, just because you've got 8 hours of being in a public place with everybody, people walking into the office, people talking. Just want to drown that out in you.
I think for me, music used to be one of those things that I listened to it every now and then. It was sort of an occasion in itself when you listen to, say, a full album. But I find myself at work, throughout the day I could be listening to 3 or 4 albums in their entirety. And at the same time, I'm sort of getting a bit bored, though, sometimes of listening to the same music. I don't know if either of you have found that.
yeah, exactly the same. I've been through my playlists. My playlist will last like a full day.
Yeah.
And then I realise I've spent all day and I've got to do this entire thing. I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I just think, oh no.
That's the thing. I used to listen to the same music because, like I say, it was an occasion, and I'd listen to that album and think, okay, I'm looking forward to that. But now I'm constantly looking for new music, like this Echo Smith stuff. I'm looking for new stuff all the time. Excuse Leslie over there making its interesting noises. You can see the results of going out and exploring Weatherby is definitely repeating. But coming back to the topic slightly, did you get bored of music now or not?
Oh yeah, but I'm always looking for new music anyway, so I've never found that the boredom lasts for very long.
So how do you find new music then? I guess that's the interesting thing, because we're hearing a lot at the moment about, for us, Apple Music is just about to come out, something like that, and although that's on the technology side, that's part of the idea there is a social network to bring new music to people. But what do you use at the moment to find new stuff?
A lot of different things. Because I don't use any streaming sites, so it's not like they can recommend anything based on my tastes. So there's a subreddit called "If you like blank, you will like this" or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but there's quite a few. If you Google, if you search for a band on there, then other people will recommend what you want. There's also a couple of websites that I use where you input a couple of bands and then they'll churn out what you might like as well. And then also just exploring like YouTube linked videos and so it ends up with a lot of mainstream bands, which I don't mind because I'm not a hipster. But you don't get any smaller bands that you might be interested in.
It's interesting that you mentioned Reddit there, because before I started on this placement, I was aware of the term but never really used Reddit, and yet now it seems to have become somewhat of a boredom saviour.
Procrastination tool.
That's I don't know. I struggle with Reddit. I go to one particular, what do you call it? Is it a subreddit?
Subreddit,
yeah. I go to that Tales from Tech Support one, which Stephen introduced to me, and I find that you can lose hours just reading the new stuff that comes, because it's like you said the other day, every time you press refresh, there's something new.
There's something new. I feel like at our company, Gareth does the most work of everyone.
Yep.
And I've just spoiled this completely by introducing Reddit to you.
It's one of those things that you feel guilty while you're doing it, but then you press refresh and something new appears and you think, oh, just read another story. And before you know it, minutes have gone.
I've
minutes
noticed
for you.
a markedly increase in Reddit time whenever I'm rolling over to look at your screen.
Yeah, that's probably correct. It's interesting though, because when I think about the stuff that I'm doing when I'm not doing work at work, it's either looking for new music or Reddit. Probably they're the two that sort of, I don't know, there's other stuff in there as well maybe, but they seem to come hand in hand in that music. Does it distract you from your work at all? Because I know that Reddit definitely does.
I don't think music makes me more productive. I know a part of me thinks, I'm listening to music, I'm not listening to the outside world. But then the other part of me thinks, I'm listening to music and that's all I'm doing. So I'm not sure.
Depends on the album. Depends on the song.
Yeah, I get that.
I have some albums, it makes me focus more. I can lose myself in it. But some albums are too interesting and too involving that I end up just listening to it.
I often press pause if there's something going on, like if I have to write something specific, I have to pause the music because it's taking all my attention.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, I don't know, I've been, in my spare time, I do watch music videos from time to time, and yet at work it's only listening to the songs, and I think that maybe makes you appreciate the lyrics themselves better, because before work I really never used to listen to lyrics in songs. It was just noise for me, say when I was driving, but now I do find myself noticing more what's going on in the song, and we have discussions where we're repeating song lyrics from time to time, so I'm obviously listening to them more. Okay, maybe you don't so much, but I know Stephen and I do.
That's because quoting song lyrics is fun.
It's one of those things where we seem to regularly say something and then suddenly it goes into a song before we've really realised that it does.
I found that I've listened to the lyrics before, but actually going to work makes me watch the videos more.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
So do you have the videos open while you're working then?
Yeah.
Because
Sometimes,
I've heard this from people who are watching YouTube videos on their second monitor at work, just have the video playing, even if they're just watching it in the background while they're doing work, and I sort of get the idea that that would probably be frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing we could get away with where we work.
I don't know though, because it's interesting in that if you're working, you're not talking, so you're not distracting other people, and if you're listening to music, you're working, you're quiet. But it's one of those things where, is it a bad thing that it takes you out of that work environment?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we should bring back like cubicles, offices. I think the work environment is better as a solitary kind of environment.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that though, because it's quite helpful being able to roll over to someone and say, "It's not working. Can you fix it?"
More of a distraction than it is benefit.
Do you think it is though, or does that help? Because I've had issues where just stepping away from the desk for a moment, even if it's just to talk to someone else, has made me think, oh, hold on, actually, maybe that's how to solve it. Or you come up with ideas that would help me. Is it a distraction, that process?
Well, I feel like Link and stuff like that can substitute for that anyway.
Yeah, so where we work, we have a instant messaging tool which we can all use, and it's a work provided thing which helps us just talk about stuff, and I think that's one of those things that if it wasn't there, you'd really miss it.
Definitely. If they took away Link, I don't know what I'd do with myself. Or would switch to Facebook Messenger or other things. We Gareth's blog on messaging service.
Oh, well, that's very nice there. Yeah, there's. We've recently, Leslie and I were testing some messaging services, and one of them we found was Telegram.
Yeah,
and I think that's what we're all using now. That's really good. But it's one of those things where your phone, Stephen's phone at work, his phone is set to vibrate whenever he gets a Telegram message. So what we've taken to do it is, if you send him a message, it vibrates, and everybody in the office suddenly hears this phone going off. And that's humorous for us, but maybe not for anybody listening.
I sense some watching eyes not being very happy with me as my phone's buzzing. I'm sure they must be able to see that you're sitting there going on your keyboard, and you press enter, and then suddenly my phone starts vibrating.
That's one of those, the problem we've had is that you muted the notifications the other day, didn't you?
Yeah.
But then I sent you one in a different conversation, and that went off.
Well, it's a choice between, do I annoy everyone around me, or do I see the messages I get?
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure what I should go with.
Well, it's interesting, because you have your phone on your desk, and I have my phone on my desk as well, but it's always on silent. How do you listen to your music then? Because this is something that, I don't know, it's a bit of an interesting thing in that, do you use your phone or do you use the computer? How do you do that?
I listen through the computer. Just because you get more notifications, so if a link message comes in, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Or if there's a call, you can actually hear it, because my primary monitor is set as the laptop one, which is off to the side of my vision.
Very much off to the side of your vision.
Yeah.
I see you you have to turn your desk to see the monitor.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So
if a call comes in, I won't see the little pop-up, I'll have to hear it.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you? What do you use?
I use it on my computer, but that's because I want the ease of being able to, if I want to change songs, I don't want to have to fiddle with my phone and look like I'm doing something more interesting.
That's the thing though, because if we're saying that music helps you work, surely it becomes acceptable then to be doing that at the desk. And I've thought this, when you're looking for a new song on your phone, how long is too long to be searching for music and not doing work?
Yeah, I have thought about this when I'm looking through my library.
Yeah.
And I scroll for ages looking for something. But then I do get to the point where I think I'm spending too long on this, but I don't care because no one can see my screen.
It's interesting. It's one of those things, because I have a real issue, and it's less so now with Reddit and stuff like that. But if I'm not doing work,
you feel guilty.
You feel guilty, which I guess you should be doing. But the thing is that you can't sit at a desk for 7.5 hours straight, concentrating the whole time. You've got to stop, and I think it's really important to have those breaks. I find, at least. I don't know. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, but it's not something we should feel good about.
But maybe it is something. Because if you can't be expected to sit there for 7.5 hours, do the straight work. A break should be encouraged in a way.
Yeah, no. If somebody out there does this, I will be amazed.
Yeah.
If you can honestly tell yourself, I go in and I sit there for 7.5 hours, and I just solid work, then I go,
Yeah, if you say you worked for 8 hours, there's only like 5 or 6 hours of actual work. maximum, really.
Yeah, I mean, you read things on Reddit, and there's often people saying, and they went back to their desk and back onto Reddit. So it's obviously it must be a common thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've ever met someone who believes that they're, well, other than people who are lying to us.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of this whole interns idea, is that I mean, for me at least, this is my first proper desk job. It's the same for you too.
Yeah.
So we're going out there, and maybe this is part of the placement idea, with not understanding really how you work in a workplace and what the rules are. Have you learned much about it? In the nice way, say good things. I mean, there must be something, because just the process of getting up in the morning, going to work at 9 o'clock every day and finishing at 5:30, that's very new and very different to university.
I like the fact that after 5:30 I can switch off.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
It did take a while for me to get to that stage of not worrying about work when I got home and like not wanting to go home and get my laptop out. Oh, I need to finish this by this time.
I find that emails are the biggest issue for that, because I set
Turn it off!
Well, you keep saying, it's one of those things though, that coming into work and not having surprises in the morning, not seeing that something has gone wrong and being surprised, knowing at night to prepare for that.
Oh no, I don't want that. If I have to if I'm going to bed and then before I go to bed I got an email saying everything has broken, I just won't be able to sleep with the knowledge that tomorrow is going to be an awful day.
Yep. I'd rather not worry.
But it's the idea of surprises. I don't mind not being able to do anything about it. I mean, it does get to you a bit, but just knowing that you can at least think about the issue and how to solve it somewhat.
It's not in my contract to think after 5:30.
So this is very different then, because from university, presumably you took all that stuff home. If you had deadlines or something, it was all the time. So which one do you prefer then?
I prefer switching off.
So how is it going to be next year? Because you go back for 2 years, don't you? Doing masters. And Stephen and I, we go back for a single year.
Yeah.
So how is that transition going to be?
I think I'll probably just say from 9 to 6, that's when you're on. After that, you switch off.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe try and take the lessons from the workplace to the university course.
I mean, I'm going to prefer going back to university because it's a lot less hours.
But is that what you both think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm very much of the mindset of, although it's fewer hours, there's going to be a lot more work, because Steve and I, we have to do projects this year. Leslie, I guess that's for you next year, isn't it? So that's going to be a huge amount of work. It's the self-motivation thing as well, and I don't know, it's a very different atmosphere, and it's going to be difficult, I think, to go back to.
I would rather be self-motivated than... I feel like I work better if it's for myself. I hate working for other people. I hate being told what to do.
In that case then, when we're at work, are you setting yourself deadlines to follow?
No.
So nothing just get done?
I give a deadline and then it gets changed.
Yeah, I think that's deadlines are a topic for a different episode, I think. But trying to come back to music then briefly, because the interesting thing here is, like I said, work has really changed my appreciation of music and coming back to it. Going back to university then, how do you think you're going to deal with that? Is music going to stay a big part for each of us?
It always has been when I was at uni, so it's going to pretty much remain the same.
How about for you, Stephen?
Well, it wasn't as big for me before I started working. It'll probably, I imagine, die down a bit because I have more, I guess, free time when I'm at university. Most of it's not spent at my computer, and therefore I'm going to be listening to less music, I think. And there's no sort of downtime where I need to sit and concentrate. I wouldn't do my university work while listening to music because I sort of feel I need to concentrate on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen to music, but at uni I would stay up late a lot, and staying up late is when I did the majority of my music listening.
Yes, I've got into that habit now as well. I'll be awake late at night, so maybe sending messages or something, but also watching music videos or listening to music. And I think that is something that work has started that, because I guess what I'm doing is I'm listening to certain music at work during the day, and then I come home and want to listen to music, but think I'm going to try something different. And then you go down a path and you follow it, and you get stuck on that. I think that's going to stay.
I think the later hours are when, at least for me, I get in more of a musical mood. Creative, because late at night is when I would rather play piano or guitar or something, or listen to music or do something creative.
Because we all play instruments. So, I mean, Stephen, what do you play?
I play the guitar occasionally.
And Leslie,
Piano and guitar.
Yeah, and so I've played brass instruments and percussion, drums a bit, but I stopped all of that before going to university. So does listening to this music make you want to play again more?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you want to sing.
Well, are you
But
going to
it's
sing?
not going to happen, no.
Because that's part of the thing actually. Sitting at work, I often find myself, there's a temptation to tap along to the music or something, or tap your foot.
I catch
I
you
do that.
dancing. I'm sure I do.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that's probably happened. But I just think, is that something that's allowed or not allowed?
We get funny looks if it ever happens, so.
I do it.
But is anyone looking at you?
Maybe, probably not though.
Because I mean, that's just the thing that for me, up to this point, music was something that I really listened to on my own. Yet suddenly in work, there's other people, and you're in that musical world, listening to the songs you're listening to, while there's other people around you. It's a very different way to have to think and behave.
It's dangerous. If you're listening to music and someone comes up behind you and you're not expecting it, it can give you a bit of a shock.
Yeah, or when they sort of want to talk to you and just wave from the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had problems with both of you listening to music, and I sort of wheel over to you and I'm just sitting right next to you, and you're just still sitting there listening to music, and I'm like, hello.
Completely black you out.
Maybe
I get
intentional.
absorbed into it, you see.
Yeah, I do. And do you find that, I don't know, I don't know how it works for me, but there are some days I can go into work and listen to the music, or same in the car, and really get into it. And there are other days I think I just can't listen to this. I don't know why.
I agree with that. I have some days where I turn on my playlist and just nothing does it, and I just can't. I don't.
So do you have days where, I know I have days where I just take the headphones off, put them on the desk and just sit there?
Definitely, I don't listen to music every day. It depends on the day.
How about you? Because you often seem to have
Right.
headphones in.
Yeah, I'm always listening to something.
Yeah, I mean, is that because you listen to a lot of different music?
Probably, yeah. I can switch it up quite a lot.
Mm.
So, like, you can go from Echo Smith to Kendrick Lamar and then to Styx and Smith or something like that, and they're all fairly different.
So the Kendrick Lamar one, is that which one's that?
It's the one I linked to you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Leslie kept sending me videos, and I opened it at YouTube and it said this was explicit. So I sort of quickly closed it, and then you sent it, and we got into a bit of a war.
Yeah. You sent me a batch file that would launch it.
Yeah, that was quite good. I've been trying to come up with different ways. So there's a piece of software that Leslie works on at work, and I was taken off this project onto a different one, and I sent you a test version or something, and you questioned whether or not I'd worked it
wouldn't
into
open
there.
it. I wouldn't open it.
He wouldn't open it. A legitimate thing that I'd done, but he wouldn't open it in case I put a link to this YouTube video there.
I believe you would have done this.
I did consider doing it, but the time it would have taken to do it probably seemed. I mean, I'm the person that spent a significant part of a day drawing Santa to go into one program.
Yeah, all morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that good.
It wasn't that good, but it was a bit of festive cheer to the application. If you go in my pictures folder, I've also got an Easter themed one and a Halloween themed one, I think.
Did they ever make it in?
No, they never made
Oh,
it.
I spent hours on that and just like, I'll just recolour the one they have.
Yeah, that was true. And then we also, Stephen wanted there's the duck of the day from the University of York.
Oh yeah.
So you wanted that wallpaper to change each day. I probably spent not that long, but long enough on writing a script just to change his wallpaper.
Much appreciated. Every day I have a new duck, and it's glorious. I don't have to do anything. Just new ducks appear.
The only problem we had is that when you first did it, didn't you have to wiggle the mouse or something to get it to change?
I still have this problem. I should fix this. I'll fix this next week. But it doesn't refresh the background on my screen, so the duck stays as the yesterday's duck until I either right click and press refresh, or I can drag over parts of the screen to reveal the new duck. It's like a surprise.
Force it to redraw the little section.
Yeah.
I guess this is part of the problem with doing something in 15 minutes when you're trying to work on something else at the same time.
Yeah.
It was done in your lunchtime actually, so I think it's okay that that you've done this.
Well, that's the other thing, because lunchtimes at work, there's a bit of a blurred line there. It's an interesting thing again on the interns topic, that it's a gap in your day, but it still works in your mind. I find it is, at least. Do you switch off during those?
Yeah, switch off.
I only switch off because we leave our computers. I wouldn't be able to sit and have my lunch at my computer, because then I would sort of feel in the work zone. And whenever I do that, I feel guilty. Like, I'll try and watch a YouTube video, and if someone comes up behind me, I'll be like, I'm on lunch.
Yeah.
But like, I shouldn't feel guilty, but I do.
Whenever I've had lunch at my desk, I don't feel guilty anyway. Like, I'll watch a full screen YouTube video and stuff like that.
I know I shouldn't, but I still do.
Well, it's lunchtime, so maybe that's
doesn't
something that you can do. I don't know. It's one of those things that even after how long we've been doing it now, 10 months or something, I still don't think you quite figure out what's normal for procrastination time and what's normal for listening to music and that sort of thing. Because I don't know, there are some people that are there that are full time that listen to music, others that don't at all, and that's the thing that I do most of the time. So that's why I'm sort of talking about it now. But I don't know. Yeah. I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The final thing to mention is sort of snobbery around music, because this is something actually we seem to have. We went into a pub in Wetherby just before, and a band was there, a live band. They were playing music, and I don't think, did you two know any of the songs that they played?
No, well, I knew the first one, but not immediately.
So basically, as soon as they started playing, Stephen came over and said, "Okay, we're leaving after the next one."
Well, yeah, okay, I'm not a snob about music. The problem was that we were having a very interesting discussion, which was suddenly we couldn't even talk to each other because the music was so loud, and it wasn't particularly good. So I thought, well, we could leave and go somewhere else and have a chat there instead.
I don't know. I find I've become much more tolerant about that music. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Just yes.
Oh, okay. That's very good.
You've been outvoted.
Yeah,
which is why we left.
And that's sort of the thing, really, that because this group listening to me at work, we're all listening to our own headphones and stuff, and we're okay because we do have that Taylor Swift combination. So when we have been in the car, I don't know where were we going.
We went to Leeds.
Oh, yeah, and you made that playlist on
We also have a Frozen playlist.
Yes, we do. We see that's the thing. You mentioned to me Frozen the other day, and I had to go listen to the songs.
Yeah.
I can't listen to a Frozen song without this burning desire to watch the film again.
Yes, when I listened to the song, I sent Stephen a message saying I might have to watch the film tonight now, but it went away after a bit. Listen to some different music.
I can't even finish a song that was from the film without having to watch it. I have to turn it off otherwise. Yeah, I can't deal with it.
I guess that's the sign of a good soundtrack, really, isn't it? If you have to listen.
I can get over it.
So you said you listen to your own music library mostly?
Yeah.
Like use Spotify, or do you
I use Spotify mostly, and then the Taylor Swift that Leslie sent me.
So up to this point, I always had my own music library as well, and I guess that's another sort of reason on why I'm listening to more stuff now, because it's either on YouTube or it's all on Spotify, with the exception of Taylor Swift. Do you think
so sad?
I mean, do you listen to random stuff because you're on Spotify?
Yeah, well, I didn't start collecting music because I'm not a pirate, and therefore I hadn't downloaded anything. So
you can download stuff legitimately.
Yes.
Amazon.
Oh, my Amazon Prime.
7 Digital.
But
7 Digital.
What's 7 Digital?
They actually give you proper music instead of the whole variable bitrate shit that Amazon give.
This is worth mentioning.
They give you they sell FLAC and stuff like that.
Does the quality of the music really matter to you? Because I'll listen to, I turn the Spotify streaming settings to extreme, but the headphones I listen on at work are pretty rubbish.
Yes, exactly. I use £3 headphones, so I'm like, probably doesn't matter.
At work it doesn't matter because the DACs on the laptop are shit.
Yeah.
But does it matter if you can does it make such a difference to your listening experience to have the high quality stuff that you wouldn't presumably have to pay extra?
Yeah, you do, yeah. But I see it both as an archival method as well. Like if MP3 was ever depreciated, converting from MP3 to something else is just going to make it way worse. But converting from FLAC, which is, all of the original quality, then you're not going to lose anything there.
But don't you think that the streaming services are going to have that covered? They'll do the conversion for you, and then you'll be able to stream it later.
Well, I don't use streaming services.
No, but you listen to music on an iPod. The sound on there isn't good enough, presumably, to warrant the FLACs, because you can't put them on there, can you?
No, I use the 320 CBR MP3s on an iPod.
So this is just for listening at home?
No, the iPod is specifically for travelling music.
Yeah, but the FLACs, they're only home.
Well, I don't even listen to the FLACs at home because I don't have my full library in FLAC.
See, we've had this whole conversation where we've talked about stuff and you've been snobby about wanting the high quality version, but when do you actually use it?
I listen to it when I get it, and then I convert it, and then I launch up my MP3 library because that actually has everything in it, and I don't have to switch between 2 different players.
Yeah, so exactly, this is the thing.
So it's completely pointless.
Well, no.
But at the end of the day, convenience is what you're after, and the MP3s, you can play them pretty much anywhere. And the sound quality, if I'm playing it in the car, you've got road noise, you've got engine noise, the MP3s are good enough. At work, the headphones they're not good enough for me. I just use Apple AirPods most of the time anyway, so it's...
But if you had a decent speaker setup,
Yeah, but do you have a decent speaker setup anywhere that you're going to listen to music?
not really.
So is this just a...
This is a future-proofing thing.
Snobby thing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
This is a future-proofing thing.
Okay, so is everything that you want available in FLAC?
Pretty much, yeah.
And you're willing to pay the extra?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Like actually, that's not true. For example, Diane Birch doesn't really. I haven't seen a FLAC version of her album.
Who's this person? I don't know who this is.
Diane Birch. Diane Birch.
Okay, you keep recommending things, but we sort of need to know who this is.
She is an artist who sort of specializes in like a bluesy kind of jazz pop kind of thing.
That actually sounds interesting.
It's a very much of a hybrid of the genres. It's not. She grew up in like a very religious-y thing, moving through different countries like South Africa with her father, who's a preacher or something like that. So she learnt gospel music, right?
Okay.
And learning piano through that, and then first album, Bible Belt, brilliant album, by the way.
Do you know this much about the music you listen to?
Only about Taylor Swift.
I put an album on, and I'm aware of when the next album is coming out, when that one was released, and that's about it, really.
I'll listen to an album, and if I like it, I want to know how that was made and how it was influenced.
Yeah, you see, for me, the music is very much just the stuff that I listen to, and I appreciate there is a story behind it, but even like I said, I'm only just listening to the lyrics properly now, and I don't really look at how they were. I guess it's just a different way of appreciating it.
Yeah, I think the story behind it is very interesting.
Hmm.
I love the making of it. Yeah.
So in that case, does that mean that Apple Music and its behind-the-scenes access is something that you're gonna be interested? No.
I wouldn't pay for it.
No, I guess if we're that lucky, you probably won't. Well, I suppose that's probably as good a place as anywhere to leave it. Who was that person you recommended?
Diane Birch.
Okay, and what else?
Diane Birch.
The other services that you recommended during it?
The other, 7 Digital.
Okay, there we go. There's these recommendations.
Oh, and Diane Birch is coming out with a third album
this
soon.
Okay, this is good. Okay, so that's who we should listen to. Do you have any music recommendations?
Taylor Swift.
Okay, well that's Taylor Swift, and I've been listening to Echo Smith a lot recently, and
Echo Smith,
the Rachel Platten stuff. Well, that's probably enough for this episode. We're going to try and keep them to about half an hour. The aim for the podcast going forwards is we'll record an episode when we can, and we'll try and pick a topic and talk about it for about half an hour. And we're going to look again on iTunes, but we'll see. We've got to submit it and get it approved and everything, and there's a few changes to the blog. It'll be available on the blog, h9blog.com. All the information you need is right there. And of course, you can let us know what you think about the show. We all have user accounts on the blog. Leslie, your username is simply the letter L, right?
L.
And Stephen, you're Stephen.
I'm Stephen.
With a V.
With a V.
Very important. That's something we'll cover later. You can also send in your tips on the podcast itself to podcast@h9blog.com. I think that's everything for today.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Well, thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.